Hey guys, it's Chris at The Ultimate Recycler. Welcome to part 9 of my Great Yard Cleanup. This episode pretty well follows on directly from part 8, where we've been working down the back lane here. So I'm pretty well kick-starting the next part straight away, rather than drifting to some other part of the yard and getting distracted with other projects. So what we've got is all our pressing steel stacked along that fence in various containers and dryer bodies and even some old stoves and things, but everything's nice clean steel, and the stack in front there's ready to go into the next available container. So that's progressing really well, all sitting on pallets. We've got a fair way down there, and I've got a big industrial washing machine to scrap out, and I'll do a separate video on those, because I actually have that was one, then there's 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and then a small domestic washing machine up here. So I used to repair washing machines, and I'd always pick up old ones for parts, and these all came from a local caravan park. They were well and truly had it, but geez, this was a long time ago, and I used to get the occasional part off them, but now they're all going to be scrapped, so I'll do a separate video on those. For those of you just watching my cleanup series for the first time, I uncovered that old shearing plant engine. It's a Cooper or a Ronaldson Tippet, incomplete, and that was in the last episode. And also this nice old heavy cut slasher with an early BSA engine on it. So that engine's going to be a restoration project down the track. That contraption, I'm going to take the crankcase off because the engine's missing so much. But I'll sell that separately. I'll give it a clean up and put it in the shop, and the frame will essentially become a garden ornament, and I'll chain that up out the front of the shop. So we'll deal with those two in this episode. Also, I finished my little trolley that I uncovered, and I've done a separate video on freeing the wheels up on that one, and that's really handy now for pushing stuff around. I've put really heavy duty boards. They're actually off a pallet, but they're nice thick boards to make a really handy base. And that thing, a few of you might have noticed this in some of my videos. I picked this up probably last year sometime when I was out at an old farm, and it's a homemade, well, essentially a fan, and they've made the blades out of, it looks like they've cut down a 44-gallon drum, and it's on a really heavy spindle with a big solid bearing, and it still spins nicely. And even though I haven't actually got a use for it at the moment, it's one of those things that might be handy one day. I envisage maybe having some sort of wind-powered invention and use that as the main drive. So, yep, we'll just leave that at this stage. I'll find somewhere in my yard to store it until I get around to doing that. But the trolley works great, by the way. So, we did get a fair way in the last episode, and this area I've put aside for stacking up the e-waste that's going to go out to the transfer station. So I'm going to continue putting half pallets all the way down that side once I clear up all that old stuff down there, and to do that I have to clear up the stuff off the top of it. The drums, I'm going to actually start putting heavy steel in these small drums, and apart from this first section which will be set aside for e-waste, I'll continue the pallets down where that old toilet cistern is and the washing machines, and those drums will have the heavy the heavy melt steel in. So the scrapyard deems that as steel under 1 metre long and thicker than, I think, 6 mil, quarter inch, and they pay a much better price for that. And by using those small drums, my crane and my trailer will be able to lift them easily. I have previously done a video on 44-gallon drums full of heavy steel, which I've still got way down this side, and there's quite a lot of them, and there's a lot of weight there, if we can see past all this stuff here. But the crane I've got on my trailer simply won't be able to lift them. It's going to be more dangerous than anything, so I'm going to actually start keeping the heavy steel in the smaller drums, which are 60-litre drums, rather than these 44-gallon drums. I think they're a 240-litre, something like that. Anyway, that's the plan. I'll stop talking now, and we'll deal with these few things in the middle. But you can see I can almost get my trailer down here now, which is great. Really making some good progress. And we hopefully will get the rest of the lane done down to where the van is. There's not a lot to go here, and we're getting into a pile of cast aluminium which I had cleaned up many years ago, and it's all stacked along the fence there. I need to clean all that up because the fence is starting to show signs of age, and we'll have to replace the rails on that at some stage. And I'll have to work out some way of storing the cast aluminium until I can get a load off to the scrapyard. And there is some stuff under that black plastic tarp that I bought many years ago, and I honestly don't remember what it is, so we'll dig that out at some stage shortly as well. Back out in the lane today, I've got the engines off these frames. They come off pretty good. Very heavy this shearing plant motor was. As you saw, the flywheels were solid cast iron. And I've got them onto my trailer, or one's in the ute, one's in the trailer. That crane's really handy for jobs like that. So I'm a little bit undecided what to do with them at this stage, because I'm cursed with the "it might be handy one day" genes. And this frame I was just going to sell as a garden ornament, but I am wanting to make a hydraulic press at home, and those bottom rails are going to be perfect for that. And also I was looking at this end where the original large sanding disc used to run, and even though it's just a greasable bearing, it's not a sealed bearing, it spins beautifully and there's no wear in it, and it's on a nice frame. So that, as I said before, that might be handy one day, particularly when I'm thinking of making some sort of wind powered apparatus with this thing. So I might dismantle this and just keep the parts for now. I don't need to sell it as far as making some dollars goes or anything like that. I think I'm better off just hanging on to it for the moment. Even these steel rods are nice solid steel. Once I get my workshop set up home, I'm going to be looking for bits like that. That cast iron frame's quite nice too. So I'm not going to sell this now. As a garden ornament, I'm only going to get $50 for it. I'd rather hang on to it. And the frame of the Slasher, well, a few people commented on my last video about restoring it. I think I'll restore the engine. Well, I will for sure. The Slasher I don't think I will, because other than a kind of a museum piece, very few people are going to use a Slasher like this. These days everyone has ride-on mowers and that sort of stuff. And the wheels are going to be handy for a project. I reckon that little gearbox might be pretty handy too, actually. Can't think of anything at the moment for it, but it's easy to store away until it's useful. The big cast iron pulley off the top there will be handy. So I think we'll dismantle that for parts as well. So no return on those things, but it will give me some good materials to work with for future projects. So alright, well, I've got the engines off. I'm going to clean up that Cooper one anyway. I'll take it down to the car wash. Out there on the trailer, you can't quite see it from here. And the other one I'll take home in preparation for dismantling, and I'll do a whole series on that one as far as the video goes. Right, so next step in this yard, I might just knock this washing machine apart to get it out of the road. I'll do a separate video on one of the other ones I've got here at some stage, and I'll be doing a bit more weeding and fill up the green waste bin, and I'll stack that cast aluminium aside, and we'll start getting a bit closer to the van down the end. Well guys, what you just watched was 6 months ago. I didn't get back to finishing this part 9 of the cleanup, and as you can see, things have regressed a little bit. You know the old saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Well, since you last saw this, we've done the step back. However, it hasn't totally regressed to junk, and I'm just kind of haven't really been down here. The first part of this video was filmed in around about September 2020, and of course then we had another lockdown with the virus, and I just haven't got back here over summer. So I'm going to get back into it shortly. So we'll finish up this video. What we did is we managed to get those engines off, as you saw. The one off the Slasher is now home ready for restoration, but there's a few jobs ahead of it. And the other frame, there's a bit there, and the rails are up there. What I ended up doing, I'll keep the rails, and I still think I may have a use for this, but the rest of it I actually remounted on a large plank of rustic timber, and I put that out the front of the shop, and I actually did sell that for $50. So that's cleaned that up. This is just an old laundry trough that came out of a deal. That'll just go for scrap steel. This large washing machine came from a house lot we cleaned out. It's not going, and that'll just be scrapped as well. The other one that I said I was going to pull apart, I haven't got to yet. There's a refrigerated air conditioner here that I'll snip the cord off and take straight to the scrapyard at some stage. I won't be scrapping that out because it's still got gas in it. What else has accumulated since you last saw it? This little cupboard was in my shed at home and I decided I didn't have a use for it, and it was pretty rough anyway, so that will be knocked apart and processed somehow. I haven't done a load of pressing steel to Melbourne yet, and I will be soon because the prices are pretty good, but that's all neatly stacked up there still. So that part of my system's working well. And the other side of the yard where we put these pallets, I haven't had a chance to continue these either, but these do work well as a landing place for things that are going out to the transfer station. So that's really working well. The weeds have grown a little bit. I did come down here about a month back and chip out a few weeds. But look, the backyard's still pretty good. We've just regressed a little bit. I'll finish up this video now. We'll do part 10 of this great yard cleanup at some stage soon, and I will get back and reorganize all this, and we'll see if we can get down to the van. And I do need to clean up this side as well. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned to my channel. There's lots going on here. I've got projects everywhere, and I do need to try and get back and get this yard more under control. We'll see you soon. Bye.